There's all this, the monarchy are, in particular, William and Kate are being, sort of seen as, well, they're a symbol of colonialism, and they're not really getting the best reception in certain elements of their tour. What's your view about the sort of insistence that they should apologise for slavery?
Well, they shouldn't. Quite simply, you're absolutely right in what you've just said. And so, William did describe it in his speech as abhorrent, and he said it was a stain on history. History is the key part of this. I think there should be a rule about governments apologising for past mistakes. And that rule should roughly be whether or not there are direct relatives still living from people who were the victims of it, or whether the people themselves were alive. So, for instance, some years ago, while there were still World War I veterans around, I ran a campaign to try and get an apology for those who were shot at dawn for cowardice. In fact, they were suffering from PTSD, but no one knew that at the time. So they were unjustly shot. John Reid was then the Defence Secretary. His view was we can't change the way things were done then. They may have been wrong, but we're not responsible for them. Eventually he was persuaded because there were still World War I vets alive. There was still their direct relatives are alive. And as a result of that, they got an apology.
The people living, there's a real connection. It's almost that there's literally still alive, and they're unfortunately their literal ancestors have just been.
That's right. It wasn't that government's fault for what had happened.
But the trauma exists, and it does go on for maybe another generation. And if some are still living, that's fine.
Slavery goes back too far. Otherwise, we start apologising for things like burning Catholics and Protestants at the stake. As the point you made, how far back do you go? So my view is the rule should be you go as far back as living memory.
Danny?
Apologise for the pyramids then, because the pyramids were built on the back of slaves and slavery. It's not the place of the royal family to apologise for this. It's a political decision. As soon as the royal family start apologising things, then they're getting involved politically. That leaves the doors wide open to reparations. As I understand, one of the top politicians in Jamaica wants £7.6 billion worth of reparations. Now, William and Kate are walking a fine line here because he's expressed deep sorrow. He's addressed the fact that slavery is reprehensible, gruesome, unforgivable, barbaric, should never have happened. But as soon as he says, I'm sorry for it, then all of a sudden that is personal or collective, as far as the royal family is concerned, personal and collective responsibility. And they never go into politics, or at least they should never go into politics.